The servants' quarters were in the basement floor of the Windsor house. Molly was allowed to pick any room she wanted, and she chose the room with the least spiderwebs and the biggest bed. Molly and her family had always slept in one room in their old house. The next morning she dressed for bed, making a mental list of what she had to do the next morning. Molly's bed had a window above the bed just big enough for a person to fit through.
Boo.
Boo yourself.
Molly took his crutch from outside and propped it against the bed frame. She grabbed him under the arms and helped him through the window.
Remember what we talked about? You're going to be up and away by dawn, before anyone sees you.
Molly knew it was bad to disobey her mistress, but she also knew her brother needed somewhere dry and warm to sleep.
Watch your boots.
She warned too late as the boots touched down on the mattress.
And shut that window before the leaves get in.
Kit was a little out of breath and his cheeks were flushed. He peered over his shoulder, searching the darkness outside.
Coming over here, I could have sworn someone was following me.
He shut the latch and carefully climbed to the floor. Molly set to making the bed.
Well, did you tell him to stop?
Kip sat on the floor to remove his boots and trousers.
I ain't fooling. I was out at the stables, waiting for your sign at the window. All of a sudden this wind comes, and it gets real dark. No moon, no stars. That's when I set to see your light. So I set to walking over here. I'm halfway to the house when my hairs on my neck stand straight up. It was like I could feel it, Miles, right behind me. I turned around, and there in the fog, he shook his head. For a half a heartbeat, I thought I saw someone there watching me.
Molly continued fixing the bed, trying to not look alarmed. It was her fault his head was full of these things.
I thought you said it was too dark to see.
Well, I could see this. He was real tall, dressed in black, with a tall black hat. I walked a few more steps toward the house and looked again, but it was gone.
Molly helped her brother into the freshly made bed.
He probably got a look at your face and was scared off.
It's no joke. Something is wrong with this whole place. You see how pale they are? It ain't natural.
That's just how people look in England.
Molly felt very glad she hadn't shown Kip the picture in the library. There was no need to add to his worry.
I'm sure we'll get used to it.
She blew out the lamp and laid down beside her brother. She stared at the ceiling, letting her eyes adjust to the night. After all these weeks of struggle, she and Kip had finally made it into a warm bed.
Miles?
He was staring at the crack button she had given him earlier that day.
Why'd they have to go around the world without us?
Molly propped herself up on one arm.
You know well as I do, Kip. They didn't want us getting hurt.
He nodded.
Drowning?
Molly swallowed a lump in her throat.
Or that.
Kip turned toward her, his eyes shining in that little boy way that spoke of distant adventure.
Do you think they've seen any dragons yet?
I'm sure of it. The ocean's full of them. Maybe if we're good, they'll even catch one for us.
She looked at him, very serious.
But in the meantime, we've got a job of our own.
What's that?
She smiled, pinching his side.
Getting some sleep.
Kip might have argued if he wasn't in the middle of a yawn. Molly could actually see right before her eyes. His head grew heavy against the pillow, and his breathing became soft. His fingers uncurled, releasing the wishing button nested in his palm. Molly turned to her back and slowly shut her eyes. For the first time in a while, she let herself feel the exhaustion that she'd been fighting for weeks. She was worn out. Her hands, feet, legs, arms, even the tips of her hair was tired. Molly was too tired to think about anything Kip had told her. She was even too tired to register the sound of a door opening and heavy footsteps entering the house.